Dr. Z, or is it Z, Peter, is out at Daimler. Shares fell 1.5% in Frankfurt before recovering after the owner of Mercedes-Benz announced a new succession plan that will see its first ever non-German CEO. It is significant. Industry legend Dieter Zitze will step away in 2019. I'm looking for all my pronunciation here to Peter. Daimler's Swedish head of R&D, and that's significant, the fact that he is the head of R&D. Ola Kalinius will take over. He's been tasked with leading a transition toward electric cars. CNN senior autos writer, the man I am turning to here to my left, Peter Valdes-Dapena, is here for us. Let's discuss first this change. Our producer Tom Foster pointed out to me that it's not just that they're going to a Swede, but it's the head of R&D, and that is the trend.
Two things. Got with a background in financing, not necessarily cars, also was most recently responsible for development, including R&D of new models like electric cars. Obviously, a big push at Daimler and other European and U.S. automakers towards electrification, as we also would simultaneously move away from diesel, which was a big deal in Europe for a long time. Mercedes just revealed their first production electric SUV that they're going to be coming out with soon. Audi also recently unveiled one, and BMW announced their plans for one. So the push is now on for real in that direction. Mercedes creating a new electric sub-brand for its cars.
And it's interesting, people going towards that electric angle, and yet we have BMW yesterday had been saying that, look, their forward guidance is not looking so good. Stock was down significantly. What are we seeing there in terms of the larger auto industry? I had been saying that if we can't get a luxury brand like BMW in this economy to be guiding forward on better profits, what gives?
Yeah. Well, a lot of it, there's a number of issues in Europe, in particular with some new fuel economy regulations coming out. Also, tariffs are a big deal that are hitting BMW, which I find ironic because, of course, the whole reason that we're fighting these trade wars supposedly here in the U.S. is to bring manufacturing jobs here. BMW's largest auto manufacturing plant in the world is in Spartanburg, South Carolina. And they're being hurt by this threat of tariffs for manufacturing in the U.S. I'm sure not the outcome that would have been intended. Companies shouldn't be punished for having a factory here in the U.S.
And that's certainly making headlines in South Carolina as well, where everyone is puzzled. We try and discuss what is the breakout on tariffs every day here in terms of how it will affect each industry. Now announced just in the last few minutes, Robert Lighthizer, the U.S. Trade Representative, saying they were going for a fast-track deal with Japan. It will still take months, but they are going to start negotiating that trade deal between the United States and Japan. Peter, everyone knows that the holy grail for American car manufacturers is Japan. Asia in general has been a closed market, but Japan in particular.
Well, obviously, China is the big market there. Japan is kind of a mixed bag. Even with fairly open market to U.S. automakers, American cars have had a hard time making it there for a number of reasons, including cultural ones and other reasons. So it's been a tough market to crack as it is. I'm not sure how enthusiastic American automakers are about trying to sell their products in Japan when they've got China to worry about.
Okay, but how do you bring all this together when it comes to the automobile manufacturers looking forward? Because, apparently the surplus, the U.S.-Japanese surplus is two-thirds cars, two-thirds autos. How is all of that going to resolve itself unless you have fewer Japanese cars coming into the United States and more American cars going to Japan?
Right. Well, one thing is, many of these Japanese manufacturers, Honda, Toyota, Nissan, have very large factories in the U.S. So obviously wanting them to build more of the cars that they sell here in those factories, they still build the vast majority, most of them they sell in the U.S., they build here. We'll want to do more of that. But then also, aside from trade, it'd be great to see U.S. manufacturers find a way to crack that market. Jeep, for example, has been able to do it. Jeep, for example, is doing pretty well in Japan. Great to see other brands figure out how to make it there in markets where small cars, for example, are preferred, something where U.S. automakers concentrating on trucks and SUVs often don't do so well.
Yeah, and that's been part of the problem, right, in terms of trucks, SUVs, things that don't really sell well in that Japanese market. Peter, thanks so much. Really appreciate it.